Most businesses have spent years stuffing their websites with content that has nothing to do with what they actually sell. And up till now, that was fine. It brought in traffic. But a brand new report just dropped showing ChatGPT's latest model is going directly to brand websites to figure out what companies do. And if your site is a mess of random blog posts chasing keywords, AI is going to look at your business and have no idea what you specialize in. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening and why a content purge might be the smartest move you make this year.
All right, so Writesonic's report came out saying that the new ChatGPT model, ChatGPT 5.4, is citing brand websites significantly more than ChatGPT 5.3. So that's what we're diving into today. Why is that happening? Is that the trend that's going to continue? And what does it mean? So, one thing to note on this, I think, is that the ChatGPT 5.4, this is the premium thinking model, right? It's not the one that everyone uses. So your typical average user probably doesn't even have an account. If they do, they probably just use the auto mode. When we run our prompts for client discoverability, we're running the basic model because that's what we believe most people are running. People who are using the thinking model, they are running, they're people who are really deep in the weeds. They're doing like deep work with this. They're probably not the people who are searching for most of these services. So I think that's one thing that is important to keep in mind there. Okay, so what does this mean exactly? Why is this important? First of all, I just said like most people probably aren't seeing this yet as they're using 5.3, but these new models when they come out, I think it's sort of a preview of where they're going. So the things that come out in the research previews or the models that are only available to the pro plans or the higher plans, those features get passed down. So the models are kind of upgrading as they go. And I think it kind of gives you a look into what's going to come. Now, I think most people, when they hear this, it starts citing from the brand website itself. They start to think about like being promotional, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. You don't want this to turn into like my website is a commercial for myself. I think the thing you want to think about here is when AI goes over my site, when it's going through my content, does it fully understand like who we are as a business, what we specialize in? And this, I think, is where a lot of companies are going to need to spend a lot of time cleaning up the content, reviewing their strategy. A lot of companies have, whether they've hired someone to write content in-house or they've outsourced this to an SEO agency, a content marketing agency, not all companies, but the practice has largely been someone looks through a keyword tool, they find keywords that relate to the company in some degree at least, and then they start going after these keywords. So I think over time, they've covered everything that makes sense, that just is an immediate fit, and they start to expand and expand and expand because that role is really judged on like traffic increasing. So they start to write about things that are less related to the business and less related. And when AI starts to crawl that website to view everything that you've talked about, it doesn't have this concise view of this company specializes in this because you're all over the map. And I think this is going to be a key thing over the next few years as the AI models try to really understand what do you do as a company, what do you specialize in. So I think reviewing the strategy, getting rid of the content that doesn't truly map to your primary services, and really trying to establish the authority around those key services.
Mm-hmm. Content purge.
Okay, so let's dive into a couple things that came from this. Percentage of citations that go to brand websites. So ChatGPT 5.2 Instant before had 22% of citations that were going to the brand websites. Then ChatGPT 5.3 dropped down to 8%. So you can see this isn't just like a linear graph. It does move around. there's reason to think that like the next update won't be, or the next model won't be as high as the current ChatGPT 5.4. You don't know, but I think the overall idea is AI needs to understand what it is you do. So this is, I think, not a reason to panic, but a reason to really get in gear and start to overhaul your content strategy.
Do we know where they're going if they're not going to the brand website? So the 5.3 instant, the current default model, only 8% is going to brand citations, are going to brand websites. Where is it going instead?
Yeah, just other sources. So it's looking for, it depends on the type of query. So if you're looking for like a best of, it's going to more sites that have listicles for that kind of thing. If it's informational, it might go for the top informational websites in that space. You know, if you're asking a medical question, it's going to go to like, what is it, the NHS, I think, for you guys.
Yeah. But why? It's one is to assume that the lower models are cheaper for them to run, so they want it to be more efficient. So why is it cheaper and more efficient for them to not go to brand citations over different sources? Or do we not know that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a cost to do that thing, or as more people make this like a normal part of their discovery process, you know, they have every incentive to make sure the results are good. So I think it's mostly about trying to understand what that company is about. So let's say you search for marathon running shoes. There's a prompt that they have here, where they said ChatGPT 5.3, 0% brand citations. 5.4 had 88%. So it's going and checking out these the brand sites more. So look, before it was I Run Far, I've never heard of that, and Reddit. So they're going and they're trying to find like, what are the users saying about marathon running shoes? And 5.4, they're going to the actual, like they already understand these are some of the top sites for running shoes, some of the top brands. They're trying to go to these sites and then understand like what are their top marathon running shoes. So if we look through this, you can see it's pretty good in like the like variety of industries they worked in, or they tried the variety of prompts, and you can see across the board, it's just more in the new model. It's just more citations from the brand. The other thing to keep in mind here is that 5.4 is the thinking model, so it does just do deeper research. And so your earlier question, that could be a big part of it. If you turn it on the thinking mode, it is doing a bit more research. So if it's not doing that deeper research, maybe the quicker answer is to look for a best of listicle. Whereas if it's got the time to actually do the research, the deeper thinking, then it might make more sense to go check out the companies that it's recommending and get more details on, you know, whatever that product or service is.
And as well, I suppose another interesting takeaway from this would be, if your strategy up till now has been getting like your brand injected into those Reddit threads, and that's been working for you with bulk of the users using these lower models, as the models stack on top of each other, so when the sort of default fast model becomes the current premium model, will it be more important to be a brand as opposed to just having injected yourself into like relevant Reddit threads?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's already the case for like products. I think for me, this is more relevant to services. If you're a product, like you've already seen the brand dominance, right? It's like AI has been even, I think, more brand focused than Google. But on like, if I think about like professional services, this is where I think, or home services as well, this is where I think like there's fewer like brand domination going on. And this is where AI will really have to go and check out the website and understand like, okay, the user is asking for a recommendation on this very specific thing in this very specific sector. And it goes and it has to figure out like, okay, this company, do they specialize in the things that the user is asking for? And if this company has covered like every possible topic under the sun and is really spread out, like, does that seem like they're an expert in that one specific thing versus another company where they go and they're much more narrowly focused on the service that they actually have. And they've covered that exact topic very, very in depth. I think that's where you'll see this start to turn into a winning strategy.
Hey, if you're unsure about how your brand is actually viewed by the AI models, then one of the smartest things that you can do is get an AI visibility audit. Check out the link in the description and let us help you help your business be discoverable in the new era of AI search.